they're kind of ripping you off. You use regular oil, not synthetic oil. Yeah, I still say it's a good idea to change it every 3. Because as I said before, if it's an old car, it might be putting a little bit too much gas into it, running a little bit rich. A lot of times car brakes will just squeak because discs are open to the air and the rotors get surface rust because they're steel.
Did you know that changing your spark plugs at the wrong time could cost you thousands of dollars in engine repairs? There's one critical mistake most drivers make, and it's likely you're doing it too. Stick around to learn how something as simple as hot spark plug changes can wreck your engine and what you need to do instead to protect your car. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Did you know that a single strange noise in your car could be the start of a repair bill that spirals into the thousands? That little rattle or squeak you've been ignoring isn't just annoying. It might be your car's way of begging for attention. And yet, studies show that about 64% of drivers put off addressing their check engine light. Why? Maybe because it doesn't seem urgent. Maybe because there's no clear sign of an immediate problem. But ignoring it could turn your minor inconvenience into a major financial headache. Take the high-pitched squeal you might hear when braking.
They're a little metal rod that comes out. And when your brake pads get thin, that little squealer will hit the rotor and you'll hear it squeaking as you're driving. When the pad material wears so thin that it's worn through to the metal backing, you'll hear horrible noises. So when you hear that noise, heck, go to your wheels and check them. See if the brake pads are really thin. It's easy enough to do on many cars like this Lexus.
At first, it's just an odd sound you notice in parking lots or at stoplights. What many drivers don't realize is that it's caused by worn brake pads. If left unchecked, the problem can go beyond just needing new pads to damaging the rotors as well. A much more expensive fix.
With a flashlight and see how thick they are. And in this case, they're pretty thick, so you really don't need to change them. A lot of times car brakes will just squeak because discs are open to the air and the rotors get surface rust because they're steel, that they're not thin and it's just time to change the pads. That's the cheapest thing to do anyways. Not like anything else, things aren't always that simple.
And that's just your brakes. Unusual engine sounds, like knocking or grinding, should get immediate attention. Not addressing these early could lead to serious issues like transmission failure or even complete engine damage. The costs for those repairs can skyrocket into the thousands of dollars. Experts from AAA often remind drivers that modern cars are designed to speak to us through warning signals and sounds. Ignoring these signs only gives small problems the opportunity to grow. Even something as seemingly harmless as a subtle rattling noise under the car can hint at something severe, like a loose heat shield, or even exhaust issues. Neglecting these abnormalities doesn't just empty your wallet later. It could leave you stranded on the side of the road. So, is that faint noise or glowing light on your dashboard trying to tell you something important? Absolutely. Think of them as early alarm bells. Addressing these problems now might mean a minor repair bill instead of a massive one. Blowing off what seems like a small issue often allows it to snowball into a much bigger deal. Next, we'll look at a routine mistake that could destroy your engine overnight, something many car owners don't even realize they're doing. What if I told you something as routine as changing your spark plugs could actually ruin your engine if done incorrectly? Many drivers make the mistake of working on a hot engine, not realizing the damage it can cause. Modern engines, especially those with aluminum cylinder heads, are incredibly sensitive to heat. When the engine is hot, the metal expands, and removing or tightening spark plugs at this time can strip the threads in the cylinder head. This isn't just a small inconvenience, it can cost upwards of $3,000 to repair. The solution is surprisingly simple. Wait for the engine to cool before attempting any work. Ideally, perform these tasks first thing in the morning, or after a few hours of cool down time. Another mistake that flies under the radar is neglecting regular oil changes.
In my country, they say change your oil every 3,000 miles or 6 months, but I don't drive much. So 6 months comes before 3,000 miles. But if you're driving less than 5,000, I just keep the regular oil and change it once a year or once a year. So you could change it once a year, right? That would be perfect.
Engine oil doesn't simply lubricate, it also cleans and cools critical components. Over time, however, oil breaks down and becomes contaminated with dirt, debris, and engine byproducts, forming a thick sludge. This sludge limits the oil's ability to flow effectively, which means your engine components face more friction and heat. Continued neglect can reduce fuel efficiency and, at worst, lead to complete engine failure. Manufacturers recommend changing the oil roughly every 5,000 to 7,500 miles.
They're kind of ripping you off. You use regular oil, not synthetic oil. Yeah, I still say it's a good idea to change it every 3. That would be perfectly fine. Just as a general rule of thumb. Regular oil every 3, once a year. Synthetic oil every 5.
Though some synthetic options stretch that to 10,000 miles. Skipping these changes might seem harmless in the short term, but the long-term consequences can drain your wallet and leave your car in shambles. Now, here's one more habit worth breaking.
Is it bad for me to sit idling for long periods of time in my car? Because some guys say yes, some guys say no. Because, as I said before, if it's an old car, it might be putting a little bit too much gas into it, running a little bit rich. What's the truth? Well, the truth depends on what type of car you have and what kind of places you live in.
Revving a cold engine. When you start your car, especially in cold weather, engine oil is thicker and hasn't had the chance to circulate fully. Revving the engine during this time forces it to work harder before it's properly lubricated, which increases wear on components like pistons and bearings. Instead of accelerating right away, let your car idle for about 30 seconds. If it's freezing outside, giving it an extra minute before applying any serious load ensures the oil reaches every corner of the engine.
Let's say you have an old beater car that's so old it's got a mechanical fan to cool the radiator that runs off the water pump. The transmission is not made to be sitting with a drag on it with nothing running, and you live in a real hot area like Arizona, then in that case, idling for extended periods of time isn't a good idea.
A little patience and attention to these routine tasks can save you thousands in the long run. But did you know even something as simple as tire pressure plays a critical role in your safety and finances? The secret to avoiding costly car repairs isn't waiting for something to break. It's stopping problems before they even start. Small mistakes, like ignoring warning lights or putting off an oil change, often snowball into expensive disasters. Taking proactive steps, such as checking your owner's manual for maintenance schedules or addressing unusual noises early, can save you significant money and stress down the line. Consulting a trusted mechanic can also provide insight into your car's actual needs, helping you avoid unnecessary expenses. Every small action adds up, protecting your wallet and extending your car's life. Don't let simple neglect destroy it.